Welcome to Marvel Champions Podcast, a podcast about Marvel Champions, the card game. I am your host, Scott, and with me, as always, my co host, Ryan.
Good to be back.
Well, Ryan, we got a nice little surprise today. It's only been a
Another
couple
one.
weeks,
Yeah.
but we got another release dropping. I was pretty excited about that.
Yeah,
The
I was not expecting it. So when you sent me a text, I was like, "Oh, okay. Let's take a gander at it."
Yeah, it's pretty sweet, and I think some people got it right and guessed that it was going to be Angel. Um, I was going to mention this on our last preview with Psylocke, but the teaser silhouette of all the shadows, everybody, I found it interesting how they released Psylocke first, and she was third in the line of the four. In the past silhouettes, they kind of went in from left to right. So I thought that was interesting, and then Angel comes up to be the second guy. So,
They
yeah.
they're throwing things on our heads right now, messing with our minds. All right, man. Let's get into this new hero. Let's talk about the alter ego, Mr. Warren Worthington III. So first off, before we get into some stats, the artwork, it looks good. It just has me concerned. Okay, just hear me out.
Okay.
He is in a trench coat in a park with a kid in the background and looks like maybe someone with the dog,
A lady walking her dog.
a lady walking her dog. You know, I've seen enough Law and Order to know that this is not a good setup for a joke.
I need to put in the that Law and Order SVU bum bum bum.
Bum bum. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Worthington, because you have all that
Yeah,
money does not mean you get to do what you want.
that's true.
But he's got 3 recover, which is pretty basic. He's got 12 health, which I think is kind of high than what I was expecting.
Yeah, for
Uh,
like a more of like a human, esque mutant. I thought the 12 was pretty high. It's pretty good.
yeah, I mean maybe he does have the mutant power of like harder, tougher skin. But I was pretty sure he just basically had wings. Um, and rich.
Y- Yes, it's the money that does it. It's also possible that they base the hit points off of his one of his hero forms. That won't spoil right this second.
That is a good point. Good point. But his action, his ability is called Regrowth. It's an action, heal 1 damage from him, and it's limited once per round. So it's not anything that's like earth shattering, but it is nice to kind of get that extra health. Um, when you flip down, you pop it, and the next round you do it again, so you're getting 2 free health, which is that's always nice to have. So I'm not gonna be a big complainer on that.
No, that's pretty much right on par with some of the alter ego supports. You heal two or heal one, draw a card type thing.
Yeah, 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 for sure. But of course, he does have another side to him, his hero side, and it
Oh
is
yeah, well,
Angel. You want to take that one?
Angel. Yeah, we'll take a look at Angel. Angel is a aerial X-Force traded hero. He has a Thwart of 2, attack of 1, and a defense of 2. He also has a response, Angel of Life. After you play an aerial event, draw 1 card, and that's limited to once per phase. Kind of pretty standard. Most of the time you're looking for a 2/2/2, but 2/1/2 seems pretty good, and it looks like he's really going to key off of this aerial trait. And we've seen aerial in the past. Some characters use it better than others, but it's looking like he's really going to be that aerial character that we haven't really seen so far in the game.
Yeah,
And he has a hand size of 5, hit points of 12.
yeah. It. I think he is he the second hero that we have that starts off with aerial. think the other one is Spectrum.
Yeah, Spectrum has it by default, and that might be it. I would have to look through all the heroes to see, but
Yeah, I can't remember. I know Nova has aerial. Did he get that with his helmet?
I think so.
Okay, so he gets it really quick. So
Yeah, there's a few people that get it fairly quick or with an upgrade, but
mm,
not many start with it. I think you're right. Spectrum is the only other one.
yeah, what do you think of his ability? I love drawing cards, so I like the idea of it. I hate that it's limited once per phase, but I guess you got to put a limit to it somehow.
I did when I first looked at it. That was kind of like my little bit of a disappointment. Is it was limited to once because hopefully you're gonna be able to play more than one. Um, but I mean, we'll get into all of his cards, but I think like every single one of his cards that are events are aerial traded, so you're at least gonna hopefully be getting a card draw at least once per hero turn with him.
Yeah, and that's essentially making him a hand size six. I mean, not really, but kind of.
Well, you gotta pay a card, so once you get a little bit of setup, you're kind of coming out ahead. You get to play a card and replace it right back, hopefully for free with your um, different upgrades and things on the board to help with that.
Yeah, yeah. So I I don't think it's a bad ability, but it definitely isn't groundbreaking, crazy like some of the other heroes. So it
Yeah,
I think it'll be just a nice, reliable one to have.
yeah. All
So
right, and then let's move on to his hero cards. Ah, just kidding.
oh, you got him.
I got him. So we are back into the giant three-sided card with his other hero form, and he is Archangel.
Yeah.
Do you want
So
to talk about Archangel and your thoughts on it?
yeah, for sure. So, like you said, he flips similar to Wasp and Ant-Man. So you flip him open. It's horizontal, or I guess landscape.
Landscape mode, yeah.
Yeah. Which when I first saw it, it threw me off. It looks weird, but I also like the big artwork too. So I think it looks cool too. Um,
Yeah, I agree. I like the big cinematic kind of artwork. It's nice.
yeah, I definitely think this the the art on this one is one of my more favorite hero arts. I really like the Archangel look to him.
Yeah.
Um, but he's a zero thwart, two attack, three defense. So he's your big attacker and defense side. Um, and his ability is Angel of Death. So his response is after you play an aerial event, deal damage to an enemy equal to the event's printed cost, also once per phase. So that's it. You kind of flip to him, and he's all big damage. No more of that healing and thwart. He's going all at it. Um,
Yeah, he's all
but
about that attack.
yeah, yeah. Oh, and he's also aerial and X Force, so none of that changes. But it's interesting. This is the first that we've seen. Is he has the acceleration icon on his ability. So when you flip to Archangel, you have an acceleration immediately going.
Yeah, they introduced that first kind of negative for being in that form. We've seen cards in the past, like the symbiote suit, have a
Mm-hmm.
negative, or some allies, like the Venom ally. But this is the first one on a player card, which is kind of interesting how they're kind of evolving that and adding that to different things.
Yeah, I think it's good exploration into what they can do. So it's nice to see some differences. I always hate having negatives, but I think the the positive of that side of the hero card helps negate that. Unlike say Hulk, where it's just the negative.
He feels a little bit like a phoenix in a way. How you
Mm-hmm.
kind of stalled, and then when unleashed and then just, full steam ahead. At first glance, he kind of feels that way. Stall with Angel, flip down, stall, and then when you're kind of built and ready, flip to Archangel and just do as much as you can for as long as you can.
Yeah, yeah, I can definitely see that. And I can see some interesting deck builds between the two sides, like focusing on one side versus the other. So it'll be interesting to see how you can play around with his decks to maximize their potential.
Yeah, yeah, he's got that aerial trait. So um, one thing that combos well with that, that we kind of played with when we were playing Rogue, when you could get heroes that gave you some of those extra
Mm.
traits
Mm-hmm.
that when you played her big attacks that do multiple things, or big thwart that do multiple things, you kind of get that double whammy of having it on a hero and having aerial, which was kind of nice.
Yep. Yep. No, you're right. So now I don't know if we. I'll just go ahead and say it. I don't know how I feel thematically about flipping back and forth between Angel and Archangel.
So that's a good point. I was thinking because there are some heroes that are limited to how they can flip, but from what I read and what I see, it seems you're gonna get that. It just counts as your one flip per turn,
Mm-hmm.
so you can just go from card to card, form to form. So he'll benefit from any of those change form cards as well.
Yeah, yeah. For me, I feel like I think I would want to see more of a mechanism like Phoenix, where certain things have to happen for you to turn into Archangel. Because I mean, he's Archangel because he gets changed by Apocalypse. But here it's
Right.
like he just goes back and forth and just, oh, I'll be this version and that version. And I just thematically, I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, gameplay wise, I think it'll be fun, but thematically, I think I would have chosen a different direction. But I mean, that's why they come to me for game design.
It's true. I don't know the comic ins and out. Everyone loves Archangel, and I know who he is, and he's awesome, but I, I thought that he pretty much stayed that form. I know there's like later forms where he's like a mixture of the two forms. Like he looks more angel esque, but he's got like blue skin and not so
Hmm.
much the Archangel, yeah, metal wings kind of look.
Yeah.
I mean, he does have a card that looks like he can just grow or rip his skin off. It's pretty interesting art.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and you're right. Maybe I don't know every comic, so maybe later on he can transform between the two. Um, but I think from the knowledge I have, I would have enjoyed it being like there's a side scheme or um, after he takes so much damage or certain tokens or something that triggers it and you turn into Archangel and it has a lot of positives but also negatives. But who knows? Maybe this will all turn out perfect.
Right. And just get ready for the community to ask, how do you store a three-sided card? We'll get that
Oh,
big
that's
long
right.
string of everything again.
Oh no, not
Yeah,
again. Not
again. Yeah.
again. What's that?
We'll get through it.
Yeah, what's that meme? The winter's coming.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah.
gonna
It's
be the
coming.
how do you sleeve it is coming.
Right. All
Well,
right. Let's get.
enough
Oh,
lollygagging.
yes. Let's get into some of his hero-specific cards. I do like how they went about the two forms.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad they didn't form lock some of his cards. I know
Yeah.
we've seen in some of the previous form characters, it's like play only if you're in this form, or play
Yeah.
only if you're
Yeah.
in that form. And I like how they went with kind of like the do this if this, or do this if this. So this first one we'll talk about is Adaptive Plumage, and it is a 3-cost event. It is Aerial, Attack, and Thwart. It says Hero Action Thwart. If you are Angel, remove 3 threat from a scheme and confuse an enemy. And then Hero Action Attack. If you are Archangel, deal 4 damage to an enemy and stun it.
Pretty adaptive.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I wonder how this will interact with a stun and confuse.
Oh no, not that question again either.
Yeah, because if you're stunned, but you're Angel, you're using the thwart action, but the card itself is traded as an attack. It's one to think about.
Yep, I'll have to think about it before it comes out and the questions start streaming in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I like it being able to benefit you no matter what your form you're in.
Yeah, the card's not a total wash if you just happen to be in the wrong form, right?
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, the next one is Aerial Agility. It's his defense one. Again, it's Aerial Hero Interrupt. When an enemy attacks you, if you are an Angel, you get to ignore the boost icons and each boost ability for that attack, which I think is kind of nice. Not only do you get to just skip the boost icon, but the ability too. That's pretty nice.
Yeah, that ability is, I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah, because some of those abilities are just nasty.
Yeah.
And then if you're Archangel, you're gonna give your hero a tough status card, and you gain Retaliate 1 for that attack. So you're gonna take some damage, but well, I guess you won't take damage because you have a status card. So
Yeah, the tough should clean most of it up unless you got a pierce enemy, piercing
appears.
enemy.
Yep.
I do
Yep.
find it interesting. It reads that you ignore each boost icon and each boost ability for this attack, and it doesn't specifically say on the boost card. So if you have multiple boost cards, it would ignore all of them, which is cool.
Yeah, that is nice because that definitely happens where they start pumping out multiple boost cards.
Right, or the boost ability is add a card or something.
Add a card, yeah. And you, even if they were to add a card, if it was that boost, you would cancel that
It
boost
would,
ability
yeah,
and blah
which
blah
is
blah
cool.
blah blah. So
Right. All right, let's get on to his thwart event. It is Natural Flight. It's a 2-cost event. Aerial and thwart traded. Hero action, thwart, remove 4 threat from a scheme. If you are Angel, this thwart ignores the crisis icon and the patrol keyword. Pretty straightforward. Angel's the thwart side of the character, so it seems
yep,
like it gets an extra little benefit for being Angel.
yep, yep.
Pretty standard, 2 for 4.
Yeah, that seems pretty average. For hero at least.
Right.
His next one is 3 cost Razor Dive. This is his big attack card. It's 6 damage. And if you're an Archangel, you gain overkill in piercing. So that's again, I feel like that's kind of a standard damage output for a 3 cost with a little bit extra added to it.
Yeah. All right. So we will get to one of his other events, which is kind of interesting. It's a 2-cost event called Metamorphosis. And it's interesting because it has all 3 of his forms, the 2 hero and his alter ego, kind of have some type of interaction with this, which is pretty neat. So it says action change form. Then, if you are Warren Worthington III, you draw a card. If you're Angel, you remove 2 threat from a scheme. And if you're Archangel, you deal 3 damage to an enemy. So, That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
I feel like it's standard to have a change form card for heroes that have multiple forms.
Yep.
Um, but it's nice to see that the alter ego is getting some love too.
Yeah, because you can play a lot of you can play it a lot of different ways. Use your free flip to do something. Go to hero, mess with it, and then use this. Go back down, and then um, if you just wanted to kind of jump up or jump down, or if you wanted to go down, heal, and then play this and come right back up and go right
Hmm.
into Archangel or something.
Yeah, I would say for like combo purposes, I would love to have seen this be one cost rather than two. Um, Even if that like weakens the abilities a little bit, just so you can try to pump out to do more, like you said, to be in one form and then pop to another one and potentially even pop to another one. Um,
Yeah.
for two costs, it's in that weird area where it's cheap enough that you can play it, but it's not cheap enough that you can do a whole lot of other things afterwards.
Right. It's gonna take up most of. It's gonna be your one thing, right? The one to two things you get to do per turn, typically.
Yeah, yeah. So if it was at one cost, I feel like it could potentially change that where you can throw out more things on that turn.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, now we're gonna get into, I guess, his energy generating, which isn't a energy generating card, but it is a resource card that he has. So Avian Anatomy, and it's going to be a resource wild response after you spin this card to pay for an aerial event. And it doesn't say hero specific aerial event, so that's nice. Return that event to your hand after resolving its effect. Um, so I can see this card being a pretty good combo um, type card, especially like I think it's a pitchback.
Mm-hmm.
That one's it's a one cost and it I can't remember how much does that do 4 damage if you're aerial
Um,
or 3 damage.
I
I don't know.
think
I'd have
so.
to look for it.
I can pull it real quick if you want to keep talking. I'll find it.
Okay. Yeah, I think and I like this card. I think a lot of heroes have the energy generating card, which is always nice to have. Or like, sorry, energy generating like upgrade. But so it's nice
Right.
when they have the resource cards. I think it just provides a little bit different, and I like the abilities because then generally you can have more combos created from them.
Right. It's
Um,
not just your standard exhaust and gain one of some type of resource. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. So, I like this one. I'm all about it. So,
So pitchback is a one cost aggression event, and you play only if you're an aerial trait. And after your hero attacks, you deal 4 damage
attacks.
to an enemy. And it just says hero attacks. It could be basic or it could be an
Yeah,
event.
yeah. So I think that would be a good combo for him with that card.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I wonder if he'll have two, um, because
I'm thinking
from
too.
like you said, I don't think he's gonna have a resource generator support upgrade.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right, let's take a look at his signature ally. So Angel was the signature ally for Psylocke, and it would just go to figure that Psylocke is the signature ally for Angel. So we have Psylocke. She's a 3 cost ally. She's a 1 Thor, 1 attack, 3 health, psionic, and X Force traded. When she attacks, she has a hero response. After Psylocke attacks, if you are Angel, heal 1 damage from Psylocke. And if you're Archangel, you ready your hero.
Hmm.
So she could be a. She kind of acts almost like a little bit of a black cat from how she can heal herself
Yeah, yeah.
in a way, or like a Tigra, sort of.
Yeah, yeah. I think you're right. Um, it's I think it's a pretty good ally. I like the things that she can do. Um, Being able to not only ready, which is always a win in this game, being able to ready your hero, um, but her being able to stay alive is always a win too.
Yeah, and yeah, you're right. The reading is awesome, and the self healing is pretty cool too.
Yeah, chuck a couple of training cards on her, and she become a little Voltron ally.
Yeah, you could definitely use some of those ally building cards and really build her out.
Yep. Yep. So I get the thumbs up for her. Not a
Yep.
problem with that.
All right, before we move on to her basic and her aspect cards, what couple of cards do you think he's going to pair well with? And I've got a couple thoughts on some unfortunate things that we've seen recently in the X-Men heroes that we're not really seeing with these X-Force heroes.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. I kind of talked a little bit about the his resource card, um, and being able to bounce that back. But I like him focusing in aerial. I mean, it makes sense. He's literally a bird. No, he's not literally a bird. He just has bird wings, right?
he's an
Uh,
angel, okay?
oh, an angel. My bad. Um, but I think he's a based off his cards, he's just going to be like a solid hero. He's going to be able to thwart. He's going to be able to attack. Um, I don't see him being big thwart. I see him being very middle of the road. Like if you need him to thwart, he'll take care of it. Um, and if you throw him in justice, he'll do really good. But I think the thing that I'm interested is how good of an attacker will he be, and how will that balance with the acceleration token for Archangel and switching back and forth. Because man, if you have the resource generation and you got the aerial, man, you can do some huge damage with Archangel. Um, just thinking like what is it, dive bomb aggression
Yeah,
event
aerial card.
that's
Yeah,
8 damage, and so at 4 costs you play that, so there's 8 damage right there to the villain, and then after you play an aerial event, deal damage equal to the printed cost. So that's additional 4 on that. So you're doing 12 damage with that card. That's a that's a pretty big output.
that's pretty good. And with his ability, the Archangel ability, I think I read it how I thought I saw it, that it was attack events, but it's any aerial event. You get to deal that printed cost as damage to an enemy, which is nice.
Oh yeah, you're right. You are totally right. It is any aerial event.
Yeah.
So
So
I
you could
I
thwart and then deal two to a bad guy, which is kind of nice.
yeah, and spoiler alert, he does come with protection, which we'll talk in a minute, but I think based off his abilities, I think you could do any aspect, and he has something he can do in it that will be effective in most player counts.
Yeah, most aspects have a few decent aerial cards, and I think protection had some pretty good aerial cards and combos with aerial, and he'll definitely introduce some more.
Yeah, I think for him being able to protection's got the oh man, now I can't remember it. What's the aerial card
It's
that
something agile flight or something. It's the one where you heal, right? Is that the one you're thinking of?
I I was thinking of maybe I'm thinking of the wrong one. I'll have to look it up, but it's the protection card that you oh darn. Epic fell on my part. It's an
It's
event, it has like a globe on it.
Ever Vigilant. That's the one I was
Evervill.
thinking,
Yes.
but I said it completely wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, that one I think would be a good card with him. Because it just you can go to Archangel's hero side and still be able to thwart and ready
And ready, yeah, that's nice. You would get a ready,
and
remove two
damage.
threat from the main, and then you would get the 2 cost damage from it. That's nice.
Yeah. So I
Yeah,
mean, that's a good combo. So
yeah.
I
All right, do you want to
definitely
go? Oh, keep going. Sorry.
I was gonna say I definitely think he's got great potential.
Yeah, he's got some combos with some aerial stuff that's kind of been hit and miss with the heroes. All right, do you want to go to protection or look at his couple of basic cards?
Didn't you have something you wanted to say?
Oh, I do. So, if you notice, none of his cards have superpower. I know Def Focus was a big, for me, was in
Ah,
like all my mutant decks because, they're mutants, they have superpowers.
you're right. He
Um,
doesn't.
but I think you can get away with X Gene because he's a mutant and it's alter ego, so you can get that out and play those on his hero specific cards.
And he looks like he's got quite a bit of events. So
Yeah, and they're all aerial. So the other one I think that is going to be team building exercise will be good for him. The one where if you share a trait with a
hmm
card,
yep.
you
No,
get to
you're right.
reduce the cost by 1. Yeah.
That would be a good combo for him. I will say, based off looking at the number of the cards, the highest one I see event wise is 10. So at least 9 of his cards are events.
Yeah, he'll have a good number of events, I think. And then he'll have his alter ego support that it's going to be like a money pit, I think. And it'll just be like rain cash. He just jumps into a giant pool of a giant cash, like Scrooge McDuck or something.
Yes, there it is. There it is. Uh, the life savings or trust fund.
Yes, trust fund kid is
Trust fund
is what
kid.
it's called. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not even sure what kind of upgrades you to give them. Here, decals
Uh,
on your wings. What's the
that's what I'm
little
thinking.
banner on
No,
an
I'm
airplane?
thinking no, not the kid's little pilot wings you give on the airplane. But I think
Uh,
he will have some type of like razor feathers or something
oh yeah,
upgrade, maybe +1 attack, something like that.
yeah,
Because I
yeah,
know in the comics in the show he could shoot out razor feathers was something that he did.
yeah, yeah.
So that'd be my guess. A +1 attack upgrade kind of thing.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe have some other benefit for Angel. If you're
Yeah.
Archangel, you get +1
Yeah.
attack. If you're Angel, you get +1 Thwart or something.
Yeah. But I agree with you. I think there's going to be something about his money bags. It's got to be.
That could be his upgrade. Just money bags.
Yeah. Just money. He just chucks money at people.
All right, let's look at his. I think we should go to his basic, since we're talking about costs and resources. So he does introduce a new basic type of resource. It is called the Power of Flight, and you get to double the number of resources this card generates while paying for an aerial card, and it has the lightning energy symbol. So you get to double the lightning for a aerial card, and since all of his cards are aerial, or most of them are aerial, that's going to benefit him a lot.
Yeah.
Question is, do you get 1 or do you get 2?
Uh,
We've seen it both
ooh,
ways.
I would say two, but it could just be one because it doesn't even say anything about like limit two per
It,
deck.
it doesn't have a max, right? So,
So I don't know. They maybe they'll do three, but I don't.
nah, I'm my safe guess would be 1, and I would be surprised if they have 2.
Yeah, yeah. It's the card is kind of just one of those niche cards that you will never use unless you play Angel or you focus heavily on an aerial deck with another character.
Nope, that's the same thought I had.
Yeah, but we'll go ahead and talk about his other basic card that comes out. Definitely in the top five favorite art. Um, for Marvel Champions, this is Soaring Hearts. It is the team up card for him and Psylocke. It's got Aerial, Psionic, and the ability is a hero action. Search your discard pile for an identity specific event and add it to your hand, and then ready both of them. So, and it's 2 cost. I think the ability's okay, but truly the standout is the art, specifically his amazing mullet.
Yeah,
And
that mullet is pretty strong.
hashtag more Marvel Champions mullets. I mean, that's
I,
it's straight up Billy Ray Cyrus. It's pretty
that's what I
great.
thought too. He's straight up Billy Ray Cyrus over here.
I mean, it is
Achy
called Soaring
breaky
Hearts.
soaring hearts, right?
Yes, yeah. I'm pretty sure they were thinking about that. If not, they really missed out. But I'm thankful that we have it now.
Yeah. I do like how whether you're playing both heroes or you're playing a hero with their specific ally, hero specific ally, you're gonna get a benefit both ways. I felt like the early on team up cards like Groot and Rocket, they struggled because they were specific to the heroes on their benefit. So if you were playing like the ally didn't have growth counters, so it just kind of like
Mm-hmm.
whiffed. In this
Yeah,
way, you could at least ready your Psylocke um, signature ally.
yeah. Which which works good with. Oh, you know what? Before I continue,
Ooh,
it
you know what I
does.
just noticed about that card? Probably the
I
same thing I just
it,
noticed too.
it says team up. It says Angel, not Archangel.
Right, that's what I noticed. Yeah,
Yeah. So watch your butts, people.
that's right. Don't be misplaying this, or the FFG police will come in and SWAT your house.
They'll get
Like,
you.
you played the team up with Archangel and Psylocke. That is that's not right.
They're gonna take your game away and go
Yeah.
feed it to the dogs and watch. All right, cool. Well, let's talk about some protection. I'm a fan of protection, so let's see what this one introduce.
We'll start off like they did in the article. We'll go straight to the allies, and in defensive fashion, they are very expensive.
And that's
I'm
that's like a protection trend is the allies are expensive, and I'm not a big fan of it.
usually the protection have higher health, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's why they're usually a little more expensive.
Yeah.
They're pretty straightforward, so I'll cover both of them pretty quick here. So Siren is the first one, 4 cost ally, 2 thwart, 2 attack. Aerial X Factor, 3 health, and she has a response after her attack. After Siren attacks, you stun a minion. So really high cost for me. Stunning a minion, very situational for me. Besides her being aerial and X Factor, if we see more kind of X Factor support, um,
It's X Force.
that's what I meant. Sorry, X Force.
Come
Um,
on.
uh,
They're gonna
we'll
write
get
mean
X Factor
comments in
later.
our chat.
Uh, I don't know. I don't know what you think.
I
Meh.
think it should cost 3. If it was 3, I'd probably play it, but at 4, I'd probably never play this card.
That's why I'm too a little bit too high cost curve. All right,
Yeah.
next defense protection ally here is Warpath. He's a 4 cost ally. He has 2 thwart with 2 consequential, 2 attack with 1 consequential, aerial and X Force, hit points of 4, and he comes out with toughness. And he has a hero response. After Warpath defends against an attack, play an event with a hero action ability from your hand, paying its cost. He's
What are
got a
your
lot going
thoughts?
on there. My first thought that I thought about with this card is how is Warpath aerial? Because I don't remember him being a flying character.
I don't think he is.
I don't think he is either. I think that might be like a misprint, but I could be wrong. There could be
Maybe they got confused
his
as Wonder Man because they
his
almost
inner
have a
eagle.
similar. Yeah, yeah. I mean, maybe he does, but I don't remember him ever flying.
I don't either.
Maybe he just
Uh,
jumps real high.
hey, that's possible.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
Hulk's Thor is aerial, I think.
that's true. You might be right. His orbital leap or something where he jumps
Yeah.
real high. Um, yes, the toughness I think helps with the cost a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think the toughness plays well with his response because that first, you're gonna be able to defend with him. The toughness can eat that attack, and then you can play in an event off turn, which is kind of nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, so that's usually a defensive kind of characteristic is being able to kind of play during the villain phase, which is nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm kind of torn. I just I don't like four cost allies. I don't like four cost cards unless it does amazing things. And to me, this isn't amazing. It's just situational.
Yeah, I mean there are ways. Like if you get power of flight and the protection card that doubles for protection cards, you can play them for two cards. But when are you going to have that perfect situation?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think I would rather see him at a three cost and even like one stat line. Um,
Yeah, because his you're not using him for his traits or for his thwart and his attack. You're using him
yeah,
for his toughness and his ability, his
yeah,
response.
yeah, yeah. So I think this is another one where it's like I may play him just to try him out, and maybe I'll try to deck build a little bit around it, but I don't see myself using him very often, which is sad. I like Warpath.
Yeah, as a character, I like him, but I'm with you. There's just some
Yeah.
of these allies that you're just like, yeah, I'm never playing that card.
Yep. Yep.
Not unless I have to.
Yep. All right, man. Let's keep moving forward. Next one is a protection event, aerial intervention. I do like this card. It's a aerial trait, interrupt. When a character would take any amount of damage from an attack, exhaust an aerial character you control, prevent up to 3 of that damage. Um, so I think this is it's again a little situational, a little setup, but it's nice to have a zero cost 3 prevent damage card. So um, it provides a little more usefulness for those two allies that we just talked about.
Yeah, because you can exhaust them and prevent three without them actually taking an attack.
Yeah,
Because that's the
yeah,
big kicker on that one is if you only have Angel or Archangel out, you've got to exhaust them too. And you might as well defend it at that point, right?
yeah. So I don't see myself always using it, but I think it'll be a fun card to try to make work on a good setup. So cool. Any other thoughts on that one?
Nope. No, it's pretty straightforward.
Perfect. The next one is, I think, my personal favorite of these new cards, and that is one cost Taunt. And it is a tactic, hero action. The villain attacks you. Other characters cannot defend against this attack. Draw 3 cards. So this is the protection version of um, One Way or Another. And
That's the same thing I thought.
yep, I'm a fan of One Way or Another. I love playing it because I love drawing 3 cards and I love just creating chaos in our games. And I think this is another one that kind of throws a little bit of chaos in there. Um, and can really, drawing 3 cards is always a win in my opinion.
especially
Especially
in
for,
protection.
yeah, exactly. Being able to anticipate the attack and benefit from it is pretty great.
Yeah,
And I
I
will
think
say it's not a cost for the villain to attack. So if you have him stunned, it doesn't matter. You still get to draw the three cards.
right, which is pretty good little combo there.
Yep.
I think that's probably the best aspect card that could be used like universally in a protection deck so far. With like from his kit.
Oh, for yeah, I agree.
All right, two more here. Next one is an upgrade. So it is a one cost upgrade. Containment Strategy. It's a tactic attached to a non permanent side scheme, max one per side scheme. Response after a hero defends against an attack, remove one threat from attached scheme. Two threat instead if that hero took no damage from that attack. It's pretty good. Kind of just whittle away at a side scheme, attach it to it, and just kind of whittle away at a side scheme. I think it's a little bit weaker because it is hero specific, so your hero has to defend. But I think it's pretty good if you've got a kind of perfect defense build setup where your whole goal is to not take damage.
Yeah. I think I would have liked to have seen it instead of being attached to a non-permanent side scheme, once per side scheme, to do it like max one per scheme, and when the scheme has zero threat on it, discard this card, and that way you can use it on the main scheme too.
Yeah, I can
And
see where they're coming from, where you're not putting on the main scheme because it would just be too powerful. But I like your way to kind of prevent it from being almost like permanent.
yeah, I agree. I don't think it needs to be permanent, but for as a protection player to be able to put it out on a side scheme, you're obviously playing the long game. So I'm not confident that's going to be the most effective. Um,
So while you were talking about that, it's any hero, so it's not just your hero. So if you're playing
oh,
a
good point.
multiplayer game, you can be taken off at least, well, they have to defend, whether that's exhausting for their basic defense or using a defensive event. They are at least removing one per attack. And if they don't
That
take any damage, it's two.
that's a great point. If you're playing a bigger multiplayer game, and it could definitely be a lot more beneficial.
And if you're playing with the right defensive heroes of Colossus or Shadowcat,
Yeah,
um,
yeah. Even who's your girl? Ghost Spider.
yeah.
Any of
So
those good defensive characters
um,
can do well in that.
I do like it. Gives my my Cyclops a little bit of love. Getting another tactic upgrade to throw into his deck to use and use his
Hey,
resources.
nice job. Yeah, I think that is
Yeah.
nice.
So, all
All
right.
right,
You
last
want to close
card.
us out on our last card?
Let's do it. So the last one is another new player side scheme. So this is exciting. Render medical aid. It's zero cost. Of course, like I said, it's a player side scheme. Victory zero. When defeated, each player heals a total of 5 damage from among characters they control, and it is 3 threat per player. And I like it. I think it's a pretty solid protection type card. So I'm pretty sure maybe they already have it out, and I can't remember, but I can totally see another player side scheme come out soon. That would be when defeated, ready every character or something like that. because that's kind of the protections: readying, healing, defending. But this one, I think is pretty solid. I'd play it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. You can kind of leave it out there, and when you need to have a decent heal, it's pretty good. The art does bother me a little bit.
Uh,
So working in healthcare, you would never have somebody that has an ET tube and oxygen in their nose. It's the oxygen isn't necessary because it's not doing anything. The ventilator's giving them oxygen straight to their lungs, and it's like sealed off. So the art kind of bugs me a little.
I think we need to write to FFG and
Well, that one's not a commissioned one. That one's from a comic book somewhere.
all right, we're gonna have to write to Marvel. And I'm thinking this is you think it's multiple man? Is that what's
Yeah,
happening?
it's multiple man. Yeah, his little shirt. He's got the little circle dots going on
Yeah.
his shirt.
Well, maybe it's like a special mutant machine.
Maybe it's just like a smell good air. Maybe it's just like an air freshener.
Ah, there you go. It has a
Yeah.
little pine in there. He's dreaming. Nice outdoors.
Yeah.
All right, man. Final thoughts.
I think it's gonna be fun. I don't think he's gonna be like amazing S tier. I love how people they love to put them in like categories. I don't think he's gonna be amazing like that, but I think he's gonna be fun to play. Um, just because he's got a lot of variety. You know, two different hero forms. Really going in on aerial. I think he'll be a fun one to play. How about you?
Yeah, I see him as a reliable hero. Um, Whoever plays them would be able to help with the thwart, help with the damage, help with the defense. Can keep themselves alive and generate resources and cards, and they're very self-sustaining. So I could see this Angel being a good solo hero, um, with what they've got and the versatility of his cards being in which form and whatnot. So I think he'll be a solid hero for a lot of people, and I think a lot of people will probably like him overall. I could see some people not being very, just kind of think he's average, because not there's nothing like super special about him. Um, but I think overall the consensus will be that this is a good hero.
Yeah, I had the thought while you were talking that he's probably like a good um, s- one step up from someone who's really first started the game.
Hmm.
He
Yeah,
adds he adds a little bit more complexity, but it's not crazy.
yeah, yeah. Agreed. Yeah.
All right. Thanks for listening. Let us know your thoughts on Angel, Archangel, what you're looking forward to. Um, and let us know by emailing us at marvelchampionspod@gmail.com. Thanks everybody for listening. And remember, if you no longer want to be a chump, you can become a champion by listening to the Marvel Champions podcast. Thanks.
Take care.